Hello, beer supers, and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppers. Today, checking out another St. Patrick's Day beer. This one's actually brewed for St. Patrick's Day. This is from Sudden Death in Germany, and this is their St. Patrick's Day Stout. Got this one on Beer Dome, so thank you to Beer Dome for the beer. They got a pretty good selection of Sudden Death at the moment, even some West Coast IPA. So I had to pick a couple up, especially also this one, because I was already doing the blind tasting of the nitro beers for St. Patrick's Day, but it would be fun to try a dry stout from a craft brewery. But you never see a lot of breweries do this style. It's one of those styles that's faded a bit in popularity. When craft beer was really coming up, this would be something breweries would brew once in a while. And I'm sure maybe it's Fidens that makes a beer like this, and they say it's like a massive seller in their tap room because it's also not super strong. And if they serve it with serving it with nitro, it's just such a nice experience. I think I'd really love to try and work with nitro in beers. And try more nitro beers. It's not something you see too often, but this is not with nitro. This is classic fermentation and CO2. How the classic dry stout is really, because the whole nitrogen thing is more modern. So yeah, it's 4.5% alcohol, and it's got wheat flakes, barley malt, hops, and yeast. And water, of course. So no oats or anything in here. So will be fun to try this one from Sudden Death. Sudden Death, I think they're really good at making a lot of different styles. And I like how they actually play around with a lot of different styles. So let's see. First Irish dry stout from a craft brewery in a very long time. And also St. Patrick's Day is not really a big thing here in Denmark. A lot of English pubs and Irish pubs and stuff like that, they do celebrate it and have like Guinness and Guinness merch and stuff like that. But I remember back in the day, you could get like green beer. There would be sale or deals on like Irish car bombs or a specific amounts of Guinness and stuff. I don't think it's as big anymore. I haven't seen much advertisement for it. And also, it's often on random days, like a Monday or a Tuesday or something like that. And, because it's not a holiday here, people, I don't think it's as big. But I remember a time where bars and whatnot were trying to market it as much as when Tuborg or Carlsberg released the Tuborg Christmas beer. But it doesn't seem to be as big anymore. But here we go. So this looks black in the glass. There's some deep reddish hues in the bottom. It poured out with a 2-finger almost of frothy beige looking head. Let's check out the aroma. Very classic aroma here. Very toasty, kind of nutty. There is almost like a slight vanilla note to it. It smells pretty nice. Pretty damn dead on for the style. And it smells really easygoing. And there's almost like a weird milky vibe. I get that sometimes with these. Smells good though. Let's try it. Cheers. Thanks to Beer Dome for the beer. Super light. Super easygoing. Dry. Toasty. Charry. Nutty. A little bit of cold brew kind of coffee vibes. Roasted maltiness. Really nice. Really sessionable. This is so fun to drink these days. Because I think back in the day, on my early craft beer journey, I would knock this. Like, oh, this is not rich enough. It needs to be thicker. It needs to be, I'd rather just drink a 12% stout if I wanted a stout. Times change. I really like 4.5-ish% beers these days. And stouts, if this had nitro, it would probably be even better. But nitro stouts on 4.5% or porters and whatnot, I think they're dope. I love them. There's even a little bit of a currant jamminess to this one. It's nice. It's really nice for what it is. I think the mouthfeel could have been a bit more slick than it is. A bit more rich. But there's nothing really to fault in this. This is pretty much what you'd expect from a dry stout. I don't want to bet that this does not have any grade resembling or being close to a grade around 4 at all. I'm pretty sure this would be around 3.6, 3.5, something like that, because it's classic beer. This is usually what you see on Untappd with anything that's not a hype style or popular style. Because, this is not super sexy to most people or interesting. I think it's pretty interesting. There's different layers of flavors to it that's going on in there. There's even maybe a licorice note lightly. Also a little bit of brown sugar. A fluffiness and a milkiness, which is interesting, which reminds me a little bit of oats, but there's no oats in here. So I think this is good. It's not blowing. It's not like mind-blowing beer, but not all beer has to be mind-blowing. This is nice, drinkable, sessionable stout, and you could have a 4-pack of this. Like, this is not something where you're sitting like after one can, like, oh yeah, this is too much. This is too rich. This is like, no, you can session this all day. I'm curious now. I want to see the Untapped average. Maybe I'm wrong. It's very toasty too, charry toasty nuances. Let's see. St. Patrick's Day Stout. They have 2 chickens. I think they've changed the recipe. Yeah, they have. So the one that has the label that's on the can now has a 3.6. So that's actually not too bad, you know. It's not too bad. The original one had 3.5. And that was a slightly different label with, oh, it's just a goblin, the leprechaun's hand on the original label. And now we got him on the label as well. That one has a whole lot more ratings. But it's interesting, like, yeah, so many people there not like, oh, no. But what's interesting, although the average is not super high, it actually won a gold medal for the style in Germany. So this means that this has probably been the highest rated, 24. This was the highest rated dry stout in all of Germany. And then it's got a 3.55. That's because it's classic. But they also make a St. Patrick's Day Haze. Double dry hopped pale ale, hazy pale ale. I wonder if they did that. This is also last year, I think. So you could have either that, or you could have a stout. That's funny. St. Patrick's Day Haze, New England Pale Ale, and that's of course higher rated. But 3.55. Come on, that's like 85, 80, something like that. It's maybe even lower, maybe closer to the 70s range. 3.55 is definitely too low. I think this is exactly what you want from the style. There's no off flavors, nothing's wrong. I could drink loads of this. It's not my favorite. I would definitely actually have some of the dry stouts I did in the blind tasting over this. And I think that's the nitro that adds something to it. But I think this is closer to a Guinness than, say, like the Brewdog Blackheart. That's a bit more of its own thing. I think it's at least a straight 90. Really nice, classic Irish dry stout. It's just with CO2 instead of nitro. If they had nitro in this, it might be 92, 93. It might be even better because that will just elevate that creamy, silky experience of drinking it. But yeah, this is really nice. Definitely something you should check out if you want to drink some dry stout for St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, the St. Patrick's Day Dry Stout from Sudden Death, 90. Very nice. Get it on Beardo. I think they might still have it because it's what it is. And I think it's the only dry stout on Beardo at the moment. I remember, who was it? Moylan's in the States. They made an Imperial Irish dry stout. But this is really nice, so check it out if you can. And as always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thanks to the Beardo for the beer, and I'm going to say cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and see you guys in another beer review.